Tonight, we examine some of the key issues shaping Jamaica, from the classroom and the factory floor to campus security and the performance of the nation's students. The Jamaica Teachers Association is calling for greater parental accountability, including mandatory PTA attendance for parents who benefit from PATH. But should social assistance come with conditions tied to school participation? We also look at the growing pressure in Jamaica's manufacturing sector as climate-related disruptions and the ongoing water crisis threaten production and business continuity. And as Jamaica's students are commended for their performance in CAPE and CSEC subjects despite the impact of Hurricane Melissa, we assess what the latest CXC numbers reveal about the state of education. Plus, security is being tightened at the University of the West Indies UWI Mona campus as officials move to preserve what they describe as a sustained period of safety on the campus. I'm Tyrone Reed, and this is Lead Story. Thanks so much for staying with us. Now, the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, wants parents who benefit from the Program of Advancement through Health and Education PATH to be required to attend PTA meetings, arguing that greater parental involvement is critical to improving student outcomes. But the proposal has sparked strong reactions, with concerns about whether social assistance should be tied to attendance at school meetings. Tonight, we examine the debate over parental responsibility, accountability, and the potential impact on vulnerable families. Joining me now, Stuart Jacobs. He's the president of the National Parent-Teacher Association of Jamaica, and Linton Ware. He's the president of the Jamaica Association of Principals and Vice Principals. Top of the evening to both of you. Welcome to Lead Story.
Thank you. Good afternoon to you, to your listeners.
Indeed. Let me begin with the NPTAJ boss. Your immediate reaction to this call by the Jamaica Teachers Association?
First of all, let me tell you, the NPTAJ and the JTA have a very good, working relationship. We understand each other. We are in the same space. We have a similar objective, and in fact, the JTA has a seat on the board of the NPTAJ as an ex-officio member, and the current president has attended a few of our meetings and presidents before. So let's get that straight. What is a bit alarming in the comment made by the president is that the path was designed. The path is designed for students who are somewhat those parents who are
vulnerable, in need. They're in need of financial assistance. Yes.
Assistance. So the path program, it is disappointing that the persons are really in support of this, and I'm very happy that we, the MPTAJ, stood up for the vulnerable families, because that's what we are doing. Students are placed on the PATH program specifically because they come from households experiencing financial hardships. It would therefore be highly unfortunate and arguably contrary to the purpose of the program to penalize these students to make their access to support conditional upon that would make it conditional upon their parents' attendance at PTA meetings. While we certainly want to encourage greater parental participation and engagement, they should be pursued through outreach and other appropriate measures. We constantly encourage our parents and PTA executive, because we travel the island basically training our PTA executives on how to construct their agenda, vote for executive meeting, construct their agenda for general meetings, to keep it an hour and a half. Because the reason why a parent comes to a PTA meeting, is for one reason, to listen to what the principal and the school, wider school administration, which is also is a PTA, what are you doing for my child now? What are the measures you are putting in place to make my little Johnny, my little Mary come home to me better than they left this morning? The PTA sits on the school board. The PTA, a school board cannot be fully constituted unless there's a PTA rep sitting on that board, and that is an act of parliament. That is law. So the PTA serves a very critical role in the school. However, there are parents who, for many reasons, cannot make it to PTA meetings because of their job. They have to babysit the younger ones, and sometimes it's a cost to come to the meeting. The cost, the bus fare, the transportation cost to come to the meeting. While our investigation also shows that some parents live in volatile communities, and they can't come to the meetings when the meetings are called, especially if the meetings are called after 6 o'clock or go on until after 6. They have to come home for safety. And so for you to ask a parent that if they don't come if they don't attend a certain percentage of meetings, they are going to be penalized, and penalized in a manner which states that what the government is offering to your child, they are going to be disenfranchised from it. That's my interpretation, our interpretation of it. The other thing is this.
Just hold that thought for me. Hold that thought for me, Stuart Jacobs. Let me bring the other participant in, Linton Ware, the president of the Jamaica Association of Principals and Vice Principals. Your immediate reaction in an interview we did with Mr. Jacobs, that's our news team. He described the remark, the proposal, as sad and discriminatory. Do you agree? I think you're muted. I think you're muted, Linton Ware.
Am I still?
We're hearing you now loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much for having me. And let me use the opportunity to say good evening to Mr. Jacobs. Very interesting time, very interesting information that we have seen. While it is that, I got this call very late, and in getting this call very, very late, I was not able to go into the trenches to have that conversation with our membership. But just from the top of my head, one of the things that I would want to add to the discussion, to the discourse, is that for us to run school effectively, it is very, very important for us to have our parent stakeholders as a part of the governance of our institution. And what it is that we have been seeing wherein our parents, they have not been in attendance 100%. We could go even further than that. There are many of our parents who have not been in attendance for just 50%. And while it is that Mr. Jacobs would have shared a while ago, just now, to say that it's very expensive for the parents to be in attendance and all of that, and the volatile areas that they are in. You take, for example, my institution, Old Harbour High School. Here at Old Harbour High School, we have PTA once per month. And what it is that we do here at Old Harbour High School, we rotate our meetings. So let us say, for example, this month we are having a face-to-face meeting. Next month is an online meeting. We here at Old Harbour High School, we have 2,500 students. And if you should multiply that by 2, you can do the math, and that will simply tell you how many parents we should have in attendance. We have never had 50% of our parents in attendance, whether it is face-to-face or whether it is online. What it is that we have seen, though, we have seen more of our parents when we are having it online, which means that parents rather to have the online modality. We're very, very appreciative to see the numbers, the increasing numbers when we have it online. Why it is that we have decided to have it face-to-face as well is because there are times that we really want to see our parents and we want to have that communication with our parents. So we have it We rotate it every month. So we have an online, and then we also have face-to-face.
But Principal Ware, the conversation, I don't think is whether or not, I think that's impatient of debate, whether or not parents should attend upon parent-teacher meetings. The JTA is saying, look, if they don't attend a certain number of meetings, they shouldn't get this path benefit that they have been assessed for. You have to be vulnerable to receive it, even though there are some non-vulnerable people who are receiving it. But do you agree with that suggestion from the JTA president?
I was getting to it, and I was pretty much setting up the framework.
Pardon me for cutting in then. So go ahead, tell us.
So I was trying to set up the framework to get into the meat of things, really. And in setting up the framework to get into the meat of things, it is important that our parents be in attendance. And I am simply saying that while it is that we have put together different modality to have our parents, so we put together two different modalities, face-to-face modality and also the online modality. And while it is that we have put together both modalities, we have recognized that our parents, not all our parents, not even 50% of our parents, are utilizing the different modality. And that is why I think I'm of the strongest of opinion why it is JTA would have shared that information to say that, look, we must now tie PTA to your path allowance. Because when you look at your path allowance, it's not just the PTA that is tied to it. There's attendance that is tied to it. And what it is that we see happening is that we see our students pushing and our parents pushing to ensure that our students are in school 80% of the time.
All right, we have to take a break, Linton, so please hold that thought for me, because when we come back, we want to drill down into how do we hold the non-path beneficiaries who are parents accountable. Yes, can this work across the board? And that is the true test of whether or not this suggestion is discriminatory. We take a break right here and come back with more.
At Hawkeye, we work hard to develop state-of-the-art security solutions like our new Total Connect smart home automation system that gives you 24/7 access to control your appliances, lights, cameras, and doors using your smartphone, tablet, or PC. As the most trusted electronic security company in Jamaica, Hawkeye has the fastest response times to get to you when you need us most. Trust Hawkeye's Total Connect. Hawkeye, securing what matters most.
Watagwan. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 10 p.m. on CVM TV.
Jamaica's unemployment rate has fallen to 3.3%, down from 13.2% in 2016. Our government's continued focus on job creation is delivering real results. We are building Jamaica. The Time by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Thanks so much for staying with us. We're having a national conversation on whether or not students who benefit from PATH, the parents and the students that benefit from this social program, the social welfare program designed to benefit needy families, whether or not that benefit should be tied to whether or not the parents of those children attend a certain number of parent-teacher meetings. We have with us the boss of the NPTAJ, Stuart Jacobs. He's not in agreement with what's being put on the table. In fact, he has called it, he has slammed it as discriminatory. But we also have with us the president of the Jamaica Association of Principals and Vice Principals, that's Linton Ware. And it does seem that Linton Ware is siding with the JTA on this one, which is what I'm really going to ask him to give us the short answer to, because he says even with a mixed modality in terms of having in-person attendance and attendance online, not even 50% of parents are turning up. So should I interpret that as support for what the JTA president has proffered?
I know, this information is just coming out, and it's going to take a lot of conversation, and I'm very happy that we have started the conversation here, and I know the conversation will be going on for days to come, but I'm very happy that we have started the conversation. But while it is that I would have set up the framework, I want to make it abundantly clear that if it is that we are going to do well as a school, as a community, as a society, it is going to be very important for our parents to be integral as it relates to the process itself. And while it is that we're trying to be very creative and to find solutions to say to our parents, it's important for you to be in attendance. And here it is, the JTA president would have looked at it and say, okay, here's a solution. It is important for us to tie it to your attendance to PTA meeting. I would love for our parents to look at this information very critically and examine it in terms of what is being proposed. The short of it from me though, I think it is very important that we hold our parents accountable. And in holding our parents accountable, it is going to be very important for us to pull all the stops to get our parents to be accountable.
But let me push back on that, because I want to bring Linton, Stuart Jacobs back in. But before I let you go, Mr. Principal, how do you hold non-PATH parents to account via this mechanism? Because isn't that the true test as to whether or not this proposal is discriminatory?
That is why I would have made mention earlier that this is going to take a lot of conversation, because here it is, that's a wonderful spin that you have put to it, a wonderful spin. So it's going to take serious communication. And I mean, it's not something that can be legislated. It's a suggestion that is being made, but it must be looked at and must be looked at critically, because our parents must be in the loop of things, because there's no way we can survive running institution without our parents being in attendance. And I would have shared last evening in another platform that just 2 days ago, one parent came in asking for readmission of her child to the institution, and I asked the question, as it relates to the readmission, have you been attending our PTA meeting? The parent made mention, no, the child has been there for 3 years and the parent has never attended a PTA meeting.
But by itself, Principal Ware, is that a sufficient rubric to determine whether or not a parent is a good parent and playing their role, whether or not they're attending? People can miss PTA meetings for a plethora of reasons. Some people are employed gainfully and they are just working at those times.
Yes, and you're very, very correct with that one. But let us take, for example, your child has been registered for the school for 3 years, and you have never seen it fit within yourself to be in attendance at least one time.
Because your work schedule has not changed in 3 years. Isn't that plausible?
But look at it. We have gone length and breadth to put together another modality to say to the parent, come online. So if it is that you are not able to come into the physical space, if you are not able to come into the physical space this month, next month you will be able to come online. So we put together different modalities.
All right, I hear the Principal Ware. But my final one to you, because I have to bring Stuart Jacobs in before we wrap this conversation up. My final one to you is, you describe what I just said about holding non-PATH parents accountable by the same measure, because we can't because their attendance isn't tied to receiving a benefit. And you said that's a wonderful take, I think is the phrase you used. But shouldn't that take cause us to dismiss out of hand this suggestion, because it is going to end up being discriminatory?
And that is why I would have made mention, I'm going to say it again, it is going to take conversation. It cannot be a situation where, and I would have made mention, this is not something that is going to be legislated. It is a suggestion that is being made, and it is going to be very important that all the stakeholders, that we are able to look at it critically before we decide that this is the pathway that we're going to be going.
All right, let me give Stuart Jacobs the final word. Stuart Jacobs, the fact that we can't hold non-path parents to account via this proposal, should we not just dismiss it out of hand?
Can I tell you something? I hope tomorrow morning we're not even discussing it. It doesn't even warrant a discussion. I tell you why. Do not take poor people picnic and play around. Do not take what the government is offering to poor people and use it as ransom to come to a PTA meeting. Get creative and get the parents to come to a PTA meeting. Find other ways of attracting your teacher, your parents to come to a PTA meeting. I was the president at KC PTA for 6 years, and Dave Mary at KC will tell you, I had 1,200 parents coming to PTA meeting, averaging 800 parents. I was very creative in getting them there. But by doing some simple things, I offered transportation for the parents. So I didn't feed them in the church. I had to use the cathedral next door because we couldn't use our chapel anymore. I did creative things for the boys to encourage their parents to come. And when they came to my PTA meeting, 1.5 hour, the agenda was sent to them before. And they came to my PTA meetings and they participated, and they couldn't wait for the next PTA meeting. And I only had PTA meeting once per term. You don't need to have PTA meeting every month. You don't need to have PTA meeting every month. You need to have a PTA meeting once per term, and then you use your farm parents to give information and the PTA coming from the administration. Because as a PTA president, you sit on the board. Do not use the PATH program that you have children who benefit from the PATH to tell me that their parents must come to PTA meeting. Are them dead for hunger tomorrow morning? Them don't get any lunch? Them don't get something to eat and drink tomorrow morning because the parents couldn't make it to a PTA meeting? Everything about that is wrong, irresponsible. And I hope tomorrow morning we're not discussing it. I really hope tomorrow morning we're not discussing
Stuart Jacobs.
It's a no-no.
Stuart Jacobs.
It's a no-no.
Very strong there from the president of the National
Don't carry it in the news tomorrow.
Teachers.
Don't give it the dignity of a news item tomorrow morning. And anybody else coming for an interview, I'm not going to be interviewed about it because it's not something to even discuss. Wrong.
Very strong words there from the NPTAJ boss, Stuart Jacobs. And also we heard from Linton Weir, president of the Jamaica Association of Principals and Vice Principals, two very important voice in the education ecosystem. And we hope to have them back on important matters. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate the time and the thoughts. Indeed.
Okay, Principal, we're all the best.
All right, let's change gears a bit. Now, the Jamaica's manufacturing sector is being urged to strengthen its resilience as businesses face increasingly disruptive climate events. But for manufacturers, the challenges are not only about preparing for extreme weather. The ongoing water crisis is also creating uncertainty for production and day-to-day operations. So, what are manufacturers doing to adapt, and what more needs to be done to ensure businesses can remain operational and viable as well when climate-related disruptions occur? We're now being joined by Cecil Foster. He's the Vice President of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, the JMEA. Thank you so much, Mr. Foster, for having joined us.
Good afternoon, and I'm happy to be here representing the JMEA. Yeah.
Indeed, thank you, and we apologize for the wait, but let's dive right into it. The water restrictions, the prohibitions, how have they been affecting your members?
I can tell you, our members are affected in what I would call a severe way. Some members, as you know, we have about 630 members who are JMEA members. They are in different categories. You have some large ones and you have micro and small ones. While the large manufacturers might have put things in place to have what you call wells, and then some might have also put in place water tank catchment systems and so on. There are others out there like this, the micro and small manufacturers who just depend on the flow, the day-to-day flow into their businesses for them to manufacture their products and so on. And they are affected severely because, as we spoke to some of our members today, some of our members are having to be buying water for their production, and when they buy this water, sometimes they can't get the water on time because they might have small amount of tanks, a catchment facility, and it runs out quickly, and the replenishing of it is not taking place fast enough. And so the challenge is there. Some of these manufacturers, they are very small and medium sized, but they are exporters. They are foreign exchange earners. They earn by supplying products that are manufactured here in Jamaica to the market abroad, and they are stifled. And so that's a big challenge for the manufacturing sector right now.
Mr. Vice President, we're open a break, so we're going to take a break. But when we come back, I want to hear from you as to whether or not these restrictions and the prohibitions, whether or not that is curtailing the amount of exports leaving the country, if you have any data on that. But we take a break right here on Lead Story and come back with more.
Imagine if I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Prevention is critical. That's why I recommend Colgate Total.
It's 15 times more effective at fighting the root cause of oral health problems. Prevent problems before.
I'm me, the stylist, no scam and not style me.
From the market to the farm to the office, money talk is everywhere. But are you making sense or nonsense? The Bank of Jamaica brings you common sense with BOJ, real stories, real laughs, and real lessons to help you protect, grow, and manage your money. Mattress savings.
At least my mattress, no charge me to sleep on it.
Partner plan.
Remember last year we needed our payouts early? But Miss Pam gave it to her cousin first.
Or a sketchy loan flyer.
Electrifying deals.
See why making the right financial choices is pure common sense. Brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, empowering everyday Jamaicans one episode at a time.
Grandpa, it's 2026. You can't keep hiding all your money in every single pocket forever. So get up and unite for your team. Give the best we've got. It's how we
every part, every preach, every part, every deal, every wicked, every soul. And the heart and soul and passion, and the culture, Caribbean flows. When people come out all nation, with the team in a unification. When the stadium ram beach at the grandstand, and the meaning of beautification. It's how we play. It's how we play. When the stadium ram beach at the grandstand, and the meaning of beautification. It's how we play.
One love every time, peace and love in the place. Jamaica want love every time. And that if you say, that if you do, and that the life if you live. One love Jamaica. Peace.
The time brought to you by the Ministry of National Security and Peace is...
Welcome back. Thank you so very much for sticking and stay with us. We are talking with the Vice President of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, and Cecil Foster. And before the break, Mr. Foster, we wanted to hear from you regarding whether or not the prohibitions, the restrictions that have been put in place because of the drought conditions, the worsening drought conditions, Have those had an impact on exports?
That's a very good question. What I know, when an order is to be supplied on a particular day, and it is not able to go on that day because of circumstance like what we're talking about here, it definitely will affect. It might not cause the exporter to lose business, but the reputation of the exporter might not be as strong as it was before the crisis took place. And one of the other things that I think is affecting the manufacturing sector is that the manufacturing sector does not only manufacture product, they employ people. And the same people who are affected by the water shortage at home have to do all they can to make sure that they are coming to work ready with a mindset and knowing that, okay, they have to find a way to get back home to make sure water is collected and so on. And they might not even have the resources to buy water tanks and all of that. And so when you look at the package of what manufacturers are facing, it is making the production more inefficient and more costly, and therefore it is sometimes delaying manufactured goods from being exported on time.
And I'd like to stick on that point here, because you raised a very crucial point there, Mr. Foster. You might not be losing business now, but it is affecting your relationship with the people that you are exporting to. But that eventually, over time, if this problem is not solved, could result in a loss of business, couldn't it?
Yeah, because you remember, I mean, the international market is not waiting on you to solve your problem at home. They have their problem that they are looking forward to solving, and is to have their goods on their shelves or in whatever space in order to sell to their customers, and therefore they want it, and they want it on time. And so this thing about the water situation in the country, I think all hands must come on deck to solve the problem, because it is going to push back Jamaica a few steps if we do not assess and manage. Yeah.
And I close with this one to you, Cecil Foster. You've heard the plans that are in place, plans that are in the pipeline, no pun intended, by the NWC and the government. Are you satisfied that those plans, when they come on stream, if they come on stream, how soon they're projected to come on stream, that those plans will solve the problem that manufacturers and exporters are having?
I think the key in all of this is for the plan to be executed. No, you can make plans and you say before you execute it that it won't work. You want to make a plan that is going to be as foolproof as possible, and then you want to execute that plan and see where you could have done better. No, there's no doubt that we are way behind where we should be. There's no way a company can be producing products and they're losing through, losses or through theft. 70% of that which you have produced. It is a no-brainer. It just cannot work. So whatever plan they have to reduce this water loss to 30% by 2035 or something like that, it must be put out there now and must come on stream, and no pun intended also, it must come on stream and it must be assessed if this thing is going to satisfy the country and the manufacturing sector on a whole.
The worsening trade deficit demands it, Cecil Foster.
Oh my goodness, yes, surely so, because this year so far, I must say this, there's so many things that have been placed on the plate of the manufacturing sector, and all of these things are negative things. They are things that can derail the progress that the manufacturers have made. When you look at all of the taxes, and you look at the levy, and you look at what's happening now with the water crisis, and you look at stuff that are making things slower, look at the cost of goods, it's just crazy. And so there must be a tender spot for this sector that is either manufacturing and exporting, or it is saving us from going to use hard-earned US dollars to buy the goods by manufacturing them here from our indigenous products that we have here.
Well, I intend this pun. I would suppose the JMEA will need to turn up the pressure on the embassy and the government to ensure that this happens. But thank you so much, Cecil Foster, the Vice President of the JMEA. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Indeed. All right, let's continue to change gears. I want to turn our attention now to education, CXC in particular, the Caribbean Examination Council and its exams, CSEC and the CAPE, of course, the performance of Jamaican students in relation to their Caribbean counterparts. I want to discuss that now with Parliamentary Secretary in the Education Ministry, Senator Marlon Morgan. He joins us now. Senator Morgan, top of the evening to you. Welcome to Lead Story. Senator Morgan, are you with us? Not hearing Senator Morgan there. Senator Morgan? Still not hearing him. We're going to try and sort that out. Now, if you've been following the results since they were released recently, the 2026 CSEC and CAPE results, interestingly, it was released this month. The picture is actually quite interesting. Jamaica is performing above the Caribbean average in several important areas, but in particularly mathematics, but it is not uniformly among the top performing territories. So we want to talk about that with the Parliamentary Secretary in the Education Ministry, Senator Marlon Morgan. Let me try for him one more time. Senator Morgan, are you there? Still not with us. Let's look at CSEC English, for example. The regional pass rate is 80%. 80%. That's CSEC English A. Jamaica's average is for the 2026 results is 83.6%, but the Jamaica comes in at 48.7% for CSEC mathematics, but the regional average is 42%. So above the regional average for CSEC English A, and above the regional average for math as well. Senator Morgan, he joins us now. Top of the evening to you, Senator Morgan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, Tyrone. Good evening to your viewers. Fascinating discussion at the top of the program earlier.
Indeed, and one that I'm certain that I'll try to draw you to weigh in on before we get to the numbers. I'm certain you know it's fair game, and actually, since you introduced it should be fair game. Your take on the JTA president suggesting to the Education Ministry that it ought to tie the payment of PATH benefits to the number of PTA meetings that PATH parents attend.
Yeah, so I note the suggestion and the call made by the JTA president, Mrs. Harrison, in respect of this matter. I understand the context within which it comes and the mischief it is seeking to address, which is fostering greater levels of involvement on the part of our parents, certainly in the life of their children, to the extent that we consider that to be a desirable activity. We haven't had time as members of the political director of the ministry to really discuss this issue among ourselves and of course come away with a definitive position on it. But what I can say is that I believe this is a useful public debate and conversation to have. It has considerable pros and it does have considerable cons as well. But if I were to just quickly indicate one of the pros to it, the PATH program, Tyrone, is essentially
the government's flagship social safety net and program to support vulnerable households. And the truth of the matter is that it is a conditional cash transfer. So in principle, it is not unheard of to seek to use public policy in a way that would incentivize and foster behavior that the state desires. So to the extent that the government wants parents to be more actively involved in the life of their children, it could be a mechanism to use public policy in the way Lasanya Harrison and her team in the JT are suggesting, which is to have it tied or pegged to the number of a particular number of PTA meetings attended, not dissimilar to what obtains now, which is a particular attendance outturn for the conditional cash transfer. And on the cons side, the truth is that the behavior we're seeking to incentivize is not limited to the parents who happen to be parents hailing from PATH households or are PATH beneficiaries. So it could be viewed as inherently discriminatory if it is that you are taking from the universe of parents a subset of those parents, which is those parents hailing from a lower socioeconomic group and a vulnerable household, and saying, hey, in order to get the conditional cash transfer from government, you have to perform by way of attendance at PTA meetings. But the truth is, the very nature of a conditional cash transfer, just like a scholarship at a school where a student is required to maintain a certain grade point average, it is by its very nature conditional, and therefore it may always be argued that it is in that sense discriminatory.
But is it Senator Morgan? If someone doesn't meet that 85% threshold that PATH requires for attendance, it doesn't automatically mean that they don't receive a benefit. But
that's a call. As I understand it, that's a call being made because PATH is a conditional cash transfer. At present, the measure or the action that is performed is one that pertains to school attendance. However, what is being proposed by the JT and Lasanya Harrison is an expansion of the conditions to be performed or satisfied. In this case, it would be attendance at PTA meetings.
All right. And if the parents don't attend upon these PTA meetings, then the children wouldn't get this benefit. And I can see the argument rediscrimination, which is what Stuart Jacobs of the NPTAJ is putting on the table, because the question is, if the government decides to go this route, how do you then hold those parents, non-PATH parents, to account who decide not to attend PTA meetings?
Well, a lot of these things does come down to moral suasion and just engaging the stakeholders, the targeted and intended stakeholders, with a view to effect behavior change. Because the truth is, we do know, that's why I started out my intervention on this matter by saying I understand and sympathize with the objective Lasanya Harris is seeking to achieve. Because the truth is, a number of the students who underperform in school or indeed exhibit maladaptive behavior, Tyrone, are students that are hailing from households that are on the lower quintile in terms of their socioeconomics. And it is reasonable to argue that we do have parents being relatively passive in relation to the life of their child, and it is one of the calls I made. It is even on the front page of today's edition of the Gleaner, where I was speaking at a JLP meeting on Sunday, and I made the call. I urged parents, in the same way you can take time out to do other things, take time out to come and attend upon your child's school, attend the parent consultation sessions, go through the reports with the teachers, and be apprised of where your child is and what the deficits are.
We haven't even gotten to where we invited you, Senator Morgan, but we're up on a break. We're going to use the next couple of minutes, so we'll come back from the break to get to the response, the CXC performances. All right, soon come.
Sure.
Students, as we begin this exciting
exciting new school year. I want to take a moment to welcome you all back and to remind you how important it is to do your part to keep yourselves and your friends safe this year. School is a place for learning, growing, and having fun with your friends. But remember, it's also a place where you need to stay alert and look out for each other. Here are a few simple tips to help keep you safe. Be aware of your surroundings when traveling. Keep your phones, technological devices, and money out of sight. Walk in groups. Avoid isolated paths and be cautious of strangers. Always inform your parents or guardians of your whereabouts. If you're experiencing bullying or if you see others being bullied, report it to your parents or teachers. If something about a situation doesn't feel right, or if someone makes you uncomfortable, trust your instincts and tell a trusted adult. And remember, if you ever need help, or if you know a friend or classmate who does, you can always call us at the Child Protection and Family Services Agency on our 211 Child Abuse Hotline. We're here for you. Have a fantastic school year. Stay safe and take care of each other.
Thanks for staying with us right here inside Lead Story. We should be talking about Jamaica's performance on CSEC and CAPE, but we've been delving into other matters with us, Parliamentary Secretary in the Education Ministry, Senator Marlon Morgan. Let's get to it quickly because we're going to have to invite you back, Senator Morgan. But let's get to it quickly.
I'm a servant of the people, so I always make myself available, my brother.
Absolutely. Now, your take on the performance in a nutshell. We are ahead of the regional average in CXC, Math and English. Is that a good look for us?
Encouraging, not where I would want us to be on the mathematics side. There's been a plateau, as it were, in relation to English language, English A, a slight dip, but that has basically held more or less. Mathematics is still below 50. I would want to see it higher. I appreciate that it may not happen in one fell swoop, but it will come on the back of sustained, useful and targeted interventions at the level of pedagogy and the ministry's suite of interventions, not least the tactical approach that we continue to employ, the math coaches that we continue to invest in, and our efforts as an administration, Tyrone, to push back against this cultural aversion that we have in relation to mathematics, because too many persons and stakeholders in education project a kind of fear for mathematics, a phobia onto our students. So you may have parents, people like many parents who would not have done well at math and they themselves have an aversion to the subject. They end up passing across comments and views
a mathematics phobia. A mathematics phobia of sorts. We're quickly running out of time, but let me ask you this last one, Senator Morgan. Internally, what are those high watermarks that the ministry is aiming for example, in math, in English? Internally, did you meet that internal target that the ministry set? I know we came out at about 47% for English, for math, and just above 80% for English A. What were the targets? Did you have targets? Does the ministry set targets that they try to meet each year?
The ministry sets targets. The truth is that this particular academic year, you have to appreciate the context within which the assessment came. It came on the back of dislocation wrought by the passage of Hurricane Melissa. We have a number of our candidates who simply did not have electricity supply, Tyrone, restored to the communities where they are domiciled until several weeks, and in some cases, of course, a few months after. So this particular cohort was challenged. I am not going to get into some of our specific internal targets on this platform, but what I can say is that to the extent that we registered in excess of a 5% increase in relation to the pass rate with respect in relation to mathematics, that is, as I said at the top of the segment, fairly encouraging, but I understand and appreciate that we would want to get to even higher levels.
You might not want to give me the numbers. You might not want to give me the numbers, but did you surpass those internal targets?
I would say we're just about hovering there.
All right,
because we were in the order of 40, just below 43 or so percent at the last time of asking, meaning the 2025 sitting, and consequent on the 2026 sitting, we came out in the order of 48%. We registered just about a 5% increase, and that, in the grand scheme of things, having regard to the context, is fairly encouraging.
When we get you back, we'll talk about the number of students that pass 5 or more subjects, including math and English. But we'll talk about that.
Which remains a point of concern.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But we thank you so very much, Senator Morgan.
All the best for your time, Taro. All the very best.
All right, let's change gears quickly before we have to run out of here. Now, security at the UWI Mona campus, encouraging signs actually coming out of the UWI. They're suggesting, and you'll hear this at the top of the hour in the newscast, that security incidents cut by almost 50%. We are now being joined by Keshawn McGrath. He's the guild president at the University of the West Indies. And we also have a UWI student online with us, Jamelia Grant. Top of the evening to both of you. Welcome to the program.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here this evening.
All right, Mr. Guild President.
Good evening.
All right, Mr. Guild President, thanks to both of you. Thanks, Ms. Grant. Mr. Guild President, quickly to you, almost by 50%. Security incidents have been cut. Are you feeling that on the ground?
Yes, on the ground, you can see the bolsters of the security presence on the campus through the campus security office and the security personnel that are here. From a student perspective, students have reported feeling more safe traversing the campus, not just during the day, but during the evenings as well, as they are going to and from their classes. And especially for commuting students who may have later evening classes, they do report that they're feeling a sense of security enhancement coming from the campus.
All right, so there is a clip we have for you. He's the security manager, retired Assistant Commissioner of Police Marlon Nesbeth. He spoke with our reporter Kevin Black. Let's have a listen.
Well, I think we have been engaging on, and we intend to build this out. We started last semester, but we intend to build this out for this school year. Is the eyes of the student across campus, because they're all across campus as they go about their businesses, to look out for anything that is strange, anything suspicious, and to report it to our monitoring station, which again is manned 24 hours per day for our various patrols. And we have increased the numbers of the patrols to respond to these issues, to make sure that there are not any particular problem that is arising on us with suspicious characters or movements. Again, this is backed up by our surveillance system. Particular vehicle coming through the gate, for example, if we have reasons to suspect any untoward matter around it, we can respond with our patrols across campus. And we do use the surveillance system again to monitor it across campus and to respond to it if needs be.
You heard it there, the security manager, former Assistant Commissioner of Police. But do you feel safer on campus, Jamelia Grant?
Okay, so personally for me, I've never really had any bad experiences, but I can say that I've had friends who had bad experiences, and I also experienced UWI both ways, because in my first year I was dorming, and then after that I was a commuter. So what I can say is, I mean, because I haven't had any bad experiences, I wouldn't say, oh, everything is fine, but I would say that it's like a shared responsibility, because, you know, if you know you have late classes, me personally, I would avoid doing late classes, and if I, you know, there are just common sense that you would use in public spaces as well, but I've never had any bad experience to say, oh, the campus is dangerous or anything like that.
But do you feel safer? Because the incidents we're being told is cut by 50%. Are you feeling that while walking on campus?
I mean, yeah, I would say, yeah, because as I was saying earlier, because I don't have anything to compare it to, because the only thing I would, hear say, that's the only thing I would have as experience.
All right, we'll give the final word to the Guild President, Keshawn McGrath. Where do we go from here, Keshawn?
Well, I'm glad that you asked that question actually. So in the working currently, even through the campus security office, there are still measures being taken in consideration to ensure that even the current security apparatus that we have on campus is continually being developed. For example, for last academic year, the office would have moved to actually install CCTV cameras, license plate registration cameras at all entrances to the campus. This allows persons who are traversing to and from the campus by virtue of a motor vehicle to be logged into the system